Weather Service in Raleigh. Here's your routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina for this Monday, the 10th of February, and this will go through Sunday, the 16th of February. All right, so we got some weather to deal with. February can sometimes be an up or down like month, but it's been really roller coastery. I mean, temperatures. I mean, I was outside yesterday in a t-shirt, but today I need a sweatshirt or even a jacket. Tomorrow you might need a winter coat. And then back to the warmth by later in the week. So kind of an interesting February. But right now we're on the cooler side of things, and this is the current watches, warnings, and advisories. There are winter storm warnings up in Virginia for freezing rain accumulation near the border and snow further north. That winter weather advisory you see there, the blue, basically in those North Carolina counties that butt up against the Virginia line, kind of the Northwest Piedmont, if you will. Those are winter weather advisories in effect. And same story, there could be a sort of a wintry mix. Now, we're still kind of wrapping our heads around, still kind of really thinking hard about how this could have impacts on Central North Carolina. And you'll see here in a moment, I think the most of the wintry weather for Central North Carolina should be confined to areas along and north of Interstate 85. And here's that along and north of Interstate 85. You see the yellow line I just drew right there? So along and north of that line is where we think most of the wintry impacts will be confined to Central North Carolina. So we may need to expand that blue area for the winter weather advisory. Remember, any amount of freezing rain, any amount warrants a winter weather advisory. So don't be surprised if, come tomorrow that a couple of the counties in Central North Carolina might be shaded blue, but we're still working on that and trying to figure out to what extent we need to add counties, okay? So this briefing here, we sent out this single slide briefing we sent out this morning. You probably, if you're on our email list, you have this in your inbox. The key message is temperatures are expected to fall to around freezing along the north of I-85 as precip begins Tuesday morning. Could be some mixed precip, wintry mix, combination of sleet, freezing rain, eventually going to rain Tuesday night. Right now, we're thinking that the ground temperatures should limit impacts to minor inconveniences to travel. Remember, when the ground's warm, where do you have your biggest impacts when wintry precip falls? Chrissy, if the ground's warm, where do you have your biggest impacts to travel?
On the roads.
Bridges?
And bridges.
And bridges, exactly, bridges. So bridges get icy first. Sorry, I didn't mean to drop that.
Roads and bridges.
Drop that on you there, but yeah, bridges are first to have wintry impacts because they're not obviously connected to the ground, which is a little bit warmer. I mean, heck, like I said, I was just t-shirt weather yesterday, so the ground is warm and that should help limit, but elevated surfaces and particularly bridges that see maybe this onset of this wintry mix could maybe become problematic tomorrow. Again, we'll kind of provide a little more explanation giving these radar simulations. So here you see Tuesday, 10 a.m. tomorrow. We're talking 24 hours from now. The precip will just be evolving over Central North Carolina by 1 p.m. Notice, let me get my drawing tool out here. Again, here's kind of the area that we think will most likely see that along and north of the yellow line I just drew. It might slip just a bit further south by afternoon, but again, not much further south of I-85 during the afternoon. And I don't necessarily think it, again, my gut tells me, and believe me, we got what, 6-7 meteorologists 10 feet away from us that are debating this right now. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be more sleet than a prolonged period of freezing rain. A lot of things go against the freezing rain potential, namely the fact that it's the daytime. Temperatures will be hovering around 32, and the ground's warm. I think, if anything, there's more of a sleet potential at the onset. So somewhere between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. is when the worst of it, the heaviest of it should occur, right? Would
Yeah,
you agree with
where
that?
you'll see
That initial
accumulations. Yeah.
burst. Okay, so anyway, and then as we head into the evening hours, it's the warm air is starting to really kick in, and the worst of the precip is confined mainly to our north, and maybe lingering over the triad, and the model that I'm featuring here is so fresh that the time frames beyond 7 p.m. are not yet available. So what I'm going to do when I send out these slides, I might wait until the rest of it becomes available. It's brand new, hot off the presses, but it only goes through 7 p.m. So I'm going to hold off emailing these until I get the rest of it in, so I could show through the rest of the early overnight hours. Okay, but suffice it to say, I think it's going to be mostly rain by the time we get into the overnight hours. We'll be warming up during this whole process. Okay, so I think the worst of it is going to be closer to the onset. The first couple hours of precip mainly would be during the afternoon Tuesday. Okay, maybe into the evening Tuesday. All right, and then what happens? Well, we get into just basically a wet period. So dry today, then precip will move back in during the daytime Tuesday. It may begin as a wintry mix, mainly north of 85. I think it'll be minor impacts, particularly bridges south of 85 tomorrow. Mostly just a rain event, just simply too warm. Overall, this week will be wet. And that's the key point. I know a lot of folks might be concerned about the wintry precip potential tomorrow afternoon, but let's not lose sight of the other big story, which is going to be the amount of water coming. It's going to be a wet week, Tuesday through Thursday. Several rounds of rain will move across central North Carolina during this time. We need it. I mean, we've been in a drought, at least a marginal drought anyway. 1 to as much as 3 inches of rain are possible. Let me fix my grammatical mistake there. 1 to 3 inches of rain are possible during this time. And again, that's Tuesday through Thursday. So, we could probably handle an inch of rain, and that's much needed. But if we get 3 inches of rain, then we have to start being concerned about flood potential. Things will dry out briefly on Friday in between systems, and then the next round of rain moves in Saturday night through Sunday, bringing more rain, like maybe another half inch to an inch or more.
Yeah, it's looking again wet with heavy periods of rain.
Yeah, and you could see that depicted in the lower right image there for Sunday. Sunday in itself could be a big rainmaker. So a little bit of wintry weather followed by just a lot of rain. Okay, so here's the amount of water. So this incorporates both rain and melted, whatever falls wintry. If you melted that, this would be the equivalent. So you could see when you add up 7 days worth of rain, we're talking, in excess of 3 inches, particularly across the western half of the state. So a lot of rain is the key takeaway. All right, so and this is played out by WPC's excessive rainfall outlook for the Wednesday period. It looks like that's when we might get into the better flash flood potential, and that's what the green outlines. Isolated flash floods possible, and mainly again that's west of I-95 where the heaviest rain is expected to fall. Not that there won't be pockets of heavy rain east of I-95, but the most concentrated heavy rain will be west of I-95. Right now, we think there's no threat for severe weather the next 7 days. Chrissy, you were telling me about maybe later next week there could be a chance for some severe weather. What was that all about?
So Wednesday night into Thursday, there could be some thunderstorms in the southeast, like Sandhills and southern coastal plain. And then again, over the weekend, there's a strong cold front, moving across, strong weather system moving from the Pacific Northwest across the Mississippi Valley, and SPC already has a 15% chance for severe weather breaking out over Alabama and Mississippi on Saturday, and that's going to come right up to us on Sunday. So we're expecting possibly maybe some thunderstorms on Sunday. As you can see, SPC doesn't have that quite yet in central North Carolina, but I expect if things play out, we'll have maybe some thunder on Sunday.
So this could change. These maps, particularly for Sunday, could change. Okay, so stay tuned. We are headed towards the warm season, and as the warm season warms up, then that obviously, that's what portends our better chances for severe storms. All right, so I think I've kind of alluded to most of this. This is just a quick and dirty way to see when the worst hazards are. Obviously, ice accumulation possibility, and ice. Maybe we should color the snow and sleet, because I think a lot of that might be sleet.
Yeah.
If we had to redo this graphic, I'd put a little bit of I wish
Yellow,
sleet was
orange.
broken out in its own category, because I think sleet might be one of the biggest, at least, concerns initially. All right, and then of course the excessive rain, and then maybe some lightning as we head through the latter half of the week. All right. Unfortunately, it looks like temperatures will be trending down, cooler than normal for the period the 17th through the 23rd. Chances of precip may be above normal. So, February can be an interesting month, roller coaster.
Swing month.
All right. So wrapping it up here. Again, dry today, rain moving in during the daytime Tuesday. It could begin as wintry mix, particularly along and north of 85. Overall, this will be a wet week, so we have to be concerned about potential flooding developing as we head Wednesday and maybe even into Thursday. And then it'll dry out Friday through early Saturday, but then another round of rain will come Saturday night through Sunday. So I would say this next 7 days is very unsettled. And keep in mind, we'll be issuing additional briefings as we head through today and into tonight and tomorrow, to bring you all the latest on tomorrow's wintry precip, especially, if we get to the point where we think we may need to issue advisories, or, in other words, stay tuned. There'll be more information forthcoming. If we need to, we'll do another webinar. We're still trying to figure out how the ground warmth and the evolution of this may play out. So there's a lot of uncertainty still. All right, so and again, don't forget about that flash flooding risk, mainly west of I-95, particularly on Wednesday. All right, so that wraps it up for this Monday morning routine, maybe a little less than routine briefing for Central North Carolina.